Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. My name is Tanya for those of you that are new here, and I'm a watercolor and acrylic artist. So Halloween is next week and I wanted to paint a little haunted house for you in acrylic. So I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so to get started, I've got my 4x4 little canvas. It's one of the thick canvases. I love using these. I have a white pencil. You can use a watercolor pencil. You can use chalk, whatever you want to sketch out your image. And I've got a couple of different filbert brushes here. I'll let you know what size I'm using as I'm going along. And I also have a liner brush in case I need that. And then the colors that I have today are burnt sienna, cad red light. This is cad yellow medium. This is ultramarine blue, titanium white, and black. All right, so my canvas. I had leftover paint from a workshop that I hosted about a week or two ago, and I usually end up saving a lot of my paint, and I just put it in a little airtight container, and I save it for just getting some canvases nice and ready. So I decided to do multicolor on this one. I wanted to be kind of a smoky background, so I used a lot of the reds and the whites and the blacks and grays. So I just kind of mixed it all together, and what I did, since it's already nice and dry, I just took one of my larger brushes, I dipped it in my paint, and I had a whole bunch of different colors actually on my bristles. And then I just kind of went around and just kind of did like little X marks. So that's how you're getting all this variation of colors in there. So it's just like a little mishmash of colors from some leftover acrylic paint that I had from a workshop. All right, so make sure that's nice and dry if that's the look that you want to go for. Otherwise, paint it a solid color. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to use my Prismacolor white pencil. Again, you can use chalk, you can use watercolor pencil, it doesn't matter. And we're going to just do our little Halloween scene. I'm going to make a little hill. I want my house, my little haunted house, to be on a hill. I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to put my house right more up this way. And make it as generic as you want. I'm going to do like a little box. And I'll do like a little roof. And I'll do maybe a second floor with another little roof. You don't need to do windows or anything like that. We'll just get all that in later. And then let's see, I'm going to give another little point up here like that. All right, so it's just very simple. Just they're little boxes with little roofs on it. You don't even need to do any detail of windows or anything like that. All right, and then I'm going to have a tree in the yard right here coming up. So I'm going to make my trunk. And these are going to be more like silhouettes. So they're going to be more like black and dark and smoky gray colors. I just want it to be the silhouette. I just want it to be a very dark, moody little painting. And then I will have all my little branches come off. But I'm going to do that later with the paint. I just wanted placement of where my trunk is going to be, really. And let's see. I think I want to add a couple little headstones in here, just to give it more of a Halloween look. I'll do a headstone here, and maybe another one down there. All right. Oh, and you know what? I might want to put a moon in the sky. I really don't want to get rid of all this beautiful painting that I had done up here with all those different colors, but I do want to pop a moon in there, and I'm thinking right behind the tree might be really pretty. A nice big moon. Because my tree is going to be black, and since my background is really dark, I want the tree to pop off this background. So I think I'm going to put a nice light moon back here. All right, so I am going to take my size 6 filbert brush, and I am going to mix a little bit of my titanium white and my cad yellow, and maybe a little bit of my burnt sienna, a little more white. And I want to get this kind of smoky look going on in there, but creamy. It's going to be the moon. All right. And then just start. What I'm doing is I'm just going in a circular motion, and I'm making my circle go bigger and bigger and bigger until I get the size that I want. And then if you want to clean up your edges, go nice and carefully around your circle like that. Okay. And I'm going to put a little more yellow in there. All right, so wash off your brush. We're going to let that dry before we do our tree in front of it. And again, this painting should go pretty fast because it's mostly silhouettes. There's not that much detail in here. I am going to take my larger brush now. I'm going to take my size 10 filbert brush. I'm going to get it damp. You always want to damp your brushes before you put it in your paint. It just kind of opens up the bristles, and it lets the paint just move around on the canvas a little bit easier than if you just took a dry, completely dry brush. You don't want it saturated. You don't want to mix too much water in with your paint, but you do want to at least open up the bristles and get it a little bit moist before you put it into your paint. All right, I'm going to just take my black, and I'm just going to go around where all my ground is. You can wrap your painting as well if you wanted to. You can wrap it. I'm not sure I'm going to do that to this painting, but you could definitely do that. It'd look really pretty. Just make sure you get that ground all nice. Now you're probably thinking, why did I paint the tree and, or why did I draw the tree and the tombstones? Well, that was because I just wanted to play it out in my head first. Now I know where they're gonna go, so it doesn't matter if I'm covering them because I already know exactly where I want them. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get our little house nice and dark. If you wanna move to a smaller brush, you could definitely move to a smaller brush. I might as soon as I get up to the top part of the house up here. And actually right about now is where I want to move to a smaller brush. So I'm going to go to my size 6. And I'm using filbert brushes just because this is what I had on hand. It probably would be best if you used flat brushes for this painting, just because there's a lot of angular lines, especially in the house here. But just do the best you can if you only have filbert or round. But I'm just letting you know, if you had flat brushes, that's probably the easiest for this painting. And go ahead and get your house nice and covered with all that black. And let's put a little roof on this one. There. So it's kind of like a 2-story house with like a little lookout up on top. I am going to put a little bit of yellow, that kind of mixture that we did for the moon, a little bit on the ground here, just to give it a little bit of like a highlight. Wash off your brush really good. I'm going to take a little bit of that mixture that I had done before, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a hint on the house. It's going to be a very blended line. So you want to do this when your house is still nice and wet. And if it already had dried on you, you can go ahead and give it another coat of the black or the blue. And I'm going to bring that down also onto the hill a little bit here. Now, my ground has dried already, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of my black. I'm not even washing off my brush. I'm just picking up a little bit of my black, and I'm going to start blending that in. So that's what you would do if you were trying to do your house as well. And if your house had already dried. And you could do as much or as little as you want of this highlight. If you want it to be a really like just solid matte black, that'd be really cool too. But I just want to give this a little bit of a highlight, especially because then our tree will stand out a little bit more. The trunk. All right. Blend that in. I'm going to take a little bit of black and I'm going to blend it back up because I didn't want it to be dark all the way to the middle of the hill. I just wanted a little bit on the top here. So I'm just taking a little bit of black and I'm blending it back the other way. There. Just so we have a little bit. All right, so we have a little bit on our house and a little bit on our hill. All right. Now take a really tiny brush. I've got a number 2 here, filbert. Again, if I had a flat, I'd be using the flat. but I'm using a little tiny filbert, which is totally fine. I'm gonna go in over with a little bit of white and yellow, and I'm just gonna make some little windows. Make as many windows as you want. Now, if your house is still not completely dry, which mine is not, you will get a little bit of blending in there. I'll see how bad it bothers me, because I might have to go over this again, but it's okay. I might just keep it like this. So again, it's just the cad yellow and white. And cad yellow tends to be a little bit more transparent of a color. So if you mix a little bit of white in there with it, it almost acts like a primer, and then you can go over it again. There. All right. All right, now we're gonna let that dry, and I wanna do a tree. Just a tree with like no branches, just like a really airy little tree. So I'm gonna take my black, and I'm gonna bring the trunk of the tree. I want the tree kind of to be centered in this moon here. That's why I did the moon so large like that, because I want the branches really to be standing out. So I'm gonna bring my trunk up from about the middle of my yard here. And we can go ahead and give that a little bit of a highlight too later, if you want. If you think that it's just a little bit too, and you don't really, too dark here and you don't see it against the hill. All right, now I'm gonna move to my liner brush, because I want these to be really, really thin. Thin little branches. So make sure you get a little bit of water on your liner brush. And I just picked up a little bit of black, so I only have water and black on my liner brush. And a little bit of water really lets the paint glide on smoothly. Do as many branches as you want. And then thicken it up where it comes towards the trunk of the tree. Your branches are gonna get thicker, so it makes a little bit more sense. And I like to pull from the branch out. But if you feel a little bit more comfortable pulling in, you can. The only thing is, if you pull from the inside out, you will get a little bit of a thinner tapered line. And that's actually how branches are. They're a little bit more tapered as they go out. They're not as thick. They're a little bit more thick right by where they all come together. And if you feel that your paint is kind of drying on your brush a little bit and it's not gliding as nicely, just go ahead and get a little bit more water. If you even want a little bit of leaves in here, you could do some like little silhouettes of black leaves on the branches. And your tree can even come all the way up to the top. I'm bringing my tree all the way to the top of my canvas. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to stop your tree kind of right in the middle of your moon, you could do that too. All right. And we could even put some bats in here too. That'd be kind of cool. And get majority of your branches on the moon here. So it's in front of the moon, then you can really see it. You could have some of your branches crisscrossing each other. They don't all have to be parallel to each other. Make some of them cross. Try and get some really thin ones in there. That way you've got a look, more dimension. If you have thick and thin branches, it just gives you a little bit more dimension. And make as many as you want. That looks really cute. All right, wash off your brush. And I'm gonna pick up my small number 2 filbert again, and I'm gonna use that same mixture, that white and burnt sienna and yellow that I had done for the little highlights here, and I'm gonna put a little bit on the tree as well. Just so it pops out, especially from here in the ground. Now you don't want too much because your moonlight is your light source, and that's coming from the other side of the tree because your moon is behind the tree. So really the other side of the tree would be nice and lit. This side would be really, really dark, but we just want to pop it out just a little bit so we can see it. And then blend that in. If your tree is still nice and wet, you can blend that in nicely. If not, go ahead and add a little bit more black. And I'm going to add a little bit more black just to the middle of the tree, just to push that highlight back again, because it had come all the way to the middle of the tree and I didn't want that. All right. Now I'm going to do a little bit of detail on my house. I think there's going to be a little front porch. So what I'll do is I'll just bring down maybe just some poles here to show that maybe there was a porch. All right, and I'm going to put a little fence going down also. And they're just going to be little posts, little black lines. And I'm using my liner brush. And I think I'm going to go all the way down to my canvas, all the way to the edge here. And I think I'm going to give them, I'm just going to make them a little bit more thick, but I think I'm going to give them just like a little, maybe like a little triangle. Like, you know how like the metal posts have sometimes like a little triangle, a little arrowhead at the top. Just kind of makes it look a little bit more creepy. So I'm going to do that. Okay. And again, if you feel like your paint is just kind of not flowing as nicely, just pick up a little bit more water. And I'm going to bring in the rails that hold this fence together. And you could do 1 or 2 rails. If you have room for 3, go for it. I'm going to do 2. Very cute. Do 1 more at the end here. All right. I think our windows are dry, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit more. I still had a little bit of black in my brush. Make sure it's cleaned off really, really well. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of my white and my yellow. Like I said before, yellow, the cad yellow is a little bit transparent. If you add a little bit of white to it, it will act more like a primer. It'll make it a little bit more opaque. I'm just going to go over my little windows again. If you want to get really detailed, you could put like a little ghost or something in the window, depending on how much room you have. Maybe if you're doing this on a larger size canvas, you have a little bit more room, you could put some ghosts or a figure or something in the window. That'd be kind of cute. I'm going to add a little bit of orange. So I'm going to pick up my red, my cad red light. I'm going to add a little bit of orange to this. And then I'm going to go right back over it again with some yellow. That's just going to give it a little bit more depth, the more colors you add. And it's just going to make it a little bit brighter. Really, really pretty. All right, let's go ahead and start doing our tombstones. So what I'm going to do with the tombstone is I'm going to make a nice gray. So I'm going to do my black, my white, and I'm going to put in some of my ultramarine blue, and I'm going to get some kind of smoky gray going on here. I could have done just black and white, but when you add a little bit of ultramarine blue, it just gives it a little bit more depth to it. You can see a little bit of that blue hue, and it's just a smokier look. All right, so I think I want, and actually maybe make this a little bit lighter, add a little more white to that. And you know what? I'm going to move down a brush size. So I'm going to pick up my size 6. So the placement of those was, one was right here. And you can make your tombstones look any shape you want. I'm just going to do just the regular round. All right, I'm going to do a smaller one up here. So just think of perspective. Anything closer to you is larger. Anything further away is smaller. So this one's going to be larger than this one back here. This one back here is going to be a little bit smaller. So it's going to give you some perspective. Make that as straight as you can. If you're using a flat brush, it will definitely be straighter than mine. All right, and then I think I wanted another one down here. Now this one's gonna be a little bit bigger because it's even closer to you. There, really pretty. Okay, or I shouldn't say pretty, very creepy. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of that yellow mixture again. So again, it was burnt sienna, cad yellow, and white. Just in case your mixture dried out. All right, so I made that again. It's just the color that we did for the moon. And I'm gonna give these tombstones a little bit of a highlight as well. And then this one I'm gonna bring, well, I'll do it on this side too. No, actually I do it on this side. So right now, think about where your light source is. My light source right now is the moon. So everything to this side of the moon had the light source on the right side. Everything to this side of the moon is gonna have the light source on, no, I'm sorry, the left side. And this side, everything of the moon is gonna be on the right side. Okay, so just blend that in. And we can always go over it again with a little bit more gray. Okay, take your gray mixture. If you feel like you just did a little bit too much of that highlight, just take your gray mixture and go over it again. And just thin up that highlight a little bit. There. All right. Oops. Okay, I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm going to give the window with my liner brush just some like little panes. You could do as many as you want. I'm just going to do just a regular little cross right in the middle. I'm going to do that to each window. Okay. If you want to give your house any more detail, you could definitely do that. I think that's about all the detail I'm going to do on this house though. I think I want some bats in the background. So I'm just going to take my liner brush and I'm just going to do some generic little bats, especially on the moon where you can really see it. And then I'll do a couple in the lighter area of my canvas, more like on the red parts. Do as many bats as you want. And you could go ahead and write something on your tombstones if you want to as well. I think I'm not. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. But what I do wanna do is have some like blades of grass coming up right in front of the tombstone. So I'm just taking my liner brush and I'm just gonna kind of come up with some black right in front of the tombstone. And you can make them as tall as you want. It just kind of grounds the tombstone a little bit more, so it's not just kind of like floating there. You definitely know like the grass is in front of it. All right. Ooh, that looks really cool. All right, I'm gonna give just a little bit of a highlight to my porch here. Actually, I'm gonna do just this side of the porch because the other side is not really facing the moon. Only this side is. All right. And I'm going to go over that with a little bit more black. This post right here was just a little bit too black for me, or a little bit too creamy for me. So just go ahead and put a little bit more black in there to thin it down. If you want, you can even do a little bit of highlight on your fence post as well. So let's see how that looks. Just a little line just to have that fence post jump out at you just a little bit more. There. And those little triangles on top. Super, super cute. And you can keep going on and adding more to this painting, but I'm going to call it done. I think that this is really, really cute, and it's perfect for Halloween just to go in the kitchen on a counter or maybe on a mantle. It's perfect. So I'm going to leave it just like that. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you liked it and learned a little something. And if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, and you can make a comment in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this one. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day. Bye.